Hey, it's your old pal Lucid Stew again. Since I live fairly close to the California end of the proposed Brightline West passenger rail line, I decided to check out the first part of the route. Come along with me and we'll take a look. Here I am at the 8th Street Metrolink station in Rancho, Cucamonga. This will be the location of the southern terminus for Brightline West. This line will then run through the Mojave Desert to just outside of Paradise, Nevada on the far southern end of the Las Vegas Strip. This still is taken from about the same location as a promo rendering Brightline has released showing what the station here might look like. For this video, we're going to explore the 49-mile section of the route that runs from this station in Rancho Cucamonga to the third station on the overall route at the northern end of Apple Valley in the desert. Along the way, I'll talk about Brightline's plans for the alignment, some challenges they'll face, and the overall implications of Brightline's plans to implement this passenger line they call Brightline West. Right now we're on 8th Street in Rancho Cucamonga heading east. The Brightline tracks here will be elevated on a viaduct to Interstate 15, which you can see in the distance. The route will be double-tracked at this point and run approximately between the road here and the railroad track on the left. Best I can tell, this section will be relatively low speed as it transitions into and out of the station. At Interstate 15, the route will curve to the left and parallel the freeway on this side. Now we're on I-15 heading north, just past 8th Street, where the Brightline route joins the freeway right away. I believe the tracks will be at the same grade as the freeway, but still elevated, as the tracks will ride above the freeway's western embankment. It isn't mentioned expressly in the environmental impact report, but I believe the tracks will stay at freeway grade until they pass under the two sets of high-tension transmission lines we're going under now. Once past the transmission lines, I believe the tracks will begin to rise on the west side of the freeway, and then they will transition from the side of the freeway to the median. We're approaching Foothill Boulevard. This is the area where the double-tracked line is supposed to cross over the southbound lanes on the left and transition into the median. On the far right is Sacred Heart Church, which the state considers a cultural resource. As such, the speed of the train passing this area is under 80 miles per hour due to sound and vibration concerns. Because of this, I believe the speed from between the 8th Street station and this point will likely not exceed 80 miles per hour at any point. Here, the elevated track in the median on the left will start lowering until the train is at grade with the freeway. This process will be complete at about where the two signs are located on this side of the freeway up ahead. This is the Church Street undercrossing. The line will also transition to single track at this point. The train will then remain at grade in the median for quite some time. I'm now going to speed the video up to reflect the speed that I believe the train will travel at in a given area. Here, I believe the train will likely cruise at 125 miles per hour until we reach Cajon Pass and the interchange with Interstate 215. After driving this route and discovering that it only took me a few more minutes than the train is scheduled to take, I realized this will not be a very fast train through this part of the overall project. The distance between the Rancho Cucamonga and Apple Valley stations is about 49 miles, and travel time is set to be 40 minutes with a 2-minute stop at the Hesperia station. This is an average of 95 miles per hour while in motion. This is a very good speed for American passenger rail, but 95 miles per hour is hardly high-speed rail. There is also a 140 mile per hour speed limit on this section, so it doesn't qualify as high speed according to the top speed either. All of the intersections coming up will be impacted by the construction of the train. Best I can tell, the train will remain at grade and will go around any overpass supports in the median. This will require shifting of lanes and widening of the freeway in these spots to accommodate the extra room necessary for the single-track train and overhead systems. The same will be the case any place we run into an intersection until we reach Cajon Pass and Interstate 215. Is Brightline West high-speed rail? This is an interesting question. The overall route from Rancho to Vegas will average just under 100 miles per hour. According to Brightline, the top speed will be 180 miles per hour. Top speed on this section is 140. Either the train will not be at 180 miles per hour for very long, or the train will be very slow at some other point. In the next video, I will examine the second section of the project, which has the potential to run at or above 150 miles per hour at some point, and will run from Las Vegas to the Apple Valley station where this video will end. I'm simulating the speed here at 125 miles per hour and have the grade at about 1%. The speed limit indicated in the environmental impact report is 140 miles per hour for this part, so the speed here in service could be faster. This section represents about 13 of the first 49 miles. Here's a graphic of what I think the speed in service along this portion of the route will look like. These guesses are based on speed limits provided in sound and vibration analysis, as well as estimated times tables in the environmental impact reports, and also terrain. This is a best guess. This is not based on data directly supplied by Brightline. I had about 30 seconds of dead air planned here before the next thing to talk about, so let's crank it to our 140 mile per hour speed limit for just a few seconds just for fun. Back to 125 miles per hour, and we're about to cross over Lytle Creek. This will require a railroad bridge approximately 2,000 feet long. Hopefully the Brightline tracks are slightly less wavy than the freeway. From this point, I'm going to leave in the route footage at approximate speed if anyone wants to watch that all the way through. It's 33 minutes of footage. I don't have 33 minutes of stuff to talk about, but there are also chapters if you want to skip that and jump to the next set of information. I will be talking about other topics, but I will mostly do so as we reach those areas in the footage. However, I will be talking about the project in general once we reach the Interstate 215 interchange in about 30 seconds. Now we're coming up on the interchange with Interstate 215. The train will continue to be at freeway grade single tracked in the median. I have slowed our simulated speed to 80 miles per hour due to the grade and some of the curves in the freeway right away. We're moving through Devore right now at the bottom of the pass. Cajon Pass is the low point between the San Gabriel and San Bernardino Mountains. The San Andreas Fault passes through this area, as does Old Route 66. The elevation here is about 2,200 feet, and the pass ends at Cajon Summit, elevation just over 4,200 feet. This is the first of two climbing parts that cover about half the rise over roughly 4 miles. The freeway right-of-way through the pass is about 12.5 miles long, with the remaining 4.5 miles being relatively flat. I have about 4 minutes to the next section, so let's talk about the history of this project, what it will cost, how it will be paid for, and how likely it is to be built. This rail line is not a new idea. It was first proposed almost 20 years ago. Brightline purchased the project a few years back, but the original environmental impact reports are over 10 years old. The original project did not include this part and was proposed to start where this section ends. Like many projects in the last few years, COVID threw a wrench into the works and delayed the process. Brightline was about to issue $4 billion in bonds to start construction when things went down in 2020. It seems in the meantime that they became convinced they needed to sweeten the bond deal by planning to get the train out of the desert from the get-go. Initially, their best bet seemed to be a connection with California High-Speed Rail at Palmdale, but due to delays, cost overruns, and financing problems, the odds of California High-Speed Rail being in Palmdale anytime soon are extremely low. Check out my California High-Speed Rail videos in the card above if you'd like to know more about that. As a result, the plan to run the train down the Cajon Pass to Rancho Cucamonga was hatched. It is not a bad idea in my opinion. The big question in my mind is if they can get it done cheaply. The cost of Brightline West is not clear. Sometimes you see $8 billion, sometimes $10 billion. Let's go with $10 billion to be safe. There are no specifics on this cost, but as we've seen and will continue to see, Interstate 15 will need quite a bit of alteration to wedge an operational train into its median. Since this train does not need to be super fast, it doesn't require any tunnels, since it will run in the median of an already established freeway and will run at grade nearly the entire way. It does not require a lot of long bridges or viaducts. The right-of-way isn't ready for them to just slap rail down, especially on this part, but a significant portion of the route through the desert will not require extra work to grade and prep the roadbed, and once they get into Nevada, the route is essentially flat. You can see the differences here between a public and private approach. They're not going to build this unless they can finance it, and they won't be able to finance it unless someone out there is confident it will be a good investment. Because of that, Brightline is taking a cheaper approach, which results in a slower train. Compare that to high-speed rail, where the project demanded the route be state-of-the-art, and then it was a shock somehow that it turned out to be super expensive and that no private investors were interested. Even still, Brightline is only planning to generate half of the cost with the bonds. They're hoping to get the rest from the federal government as part of all the infrastructure money floating around right now, specifically money for intercity rail. In this regard, Brightline and California High-Speed Rail are actually competitors for the same funds at this point, although I imagine they'd rather be partners. The advantage Brightline West has over California High-Speed Rail for federal dollars is that Brightline West is an interstate project, and that gives the interstate entity known as the federal government more incentive to help build it. Plus, with two states involved, you double the amount of senators pulling for funding. All that said, the project is now 18 years old. Brightline has been talking about breaking ground for 3 years and still has not. My general attitude is much the same as it is with California High-Speed Rail. I'll believe it when I see it. The second Brightline breaks ground on this project, the odds it will actually get done will go up by about 1,000%. Until then, it makes for interesting videos where random people out in the world drive the route along the freeway where the thing is supposed to be built. Brightline wants to start building this year and have it done by 2027 so that they'll have some operational time under their belt before LA hosts the Summer Olympics in 2028. A solid connection between LA and Las Vegas during the Summer Games in Southern California sounds like a moneymaker to me. Right now we're waiting on an update regarding the environmental impact report for the section we are currently driving, and that should include an announcement of when construction will begin. Speaking of driving, we are coming up on the State Route 138 interchange. This will require some adjustments to off-ramps and the width of the freeway, presumably to accommodate the train going around the overpass pylon in the median. In this area, the track will rise to elevate over some CHP crossover lanes between here and Cajon Summit in about 5 miles. The track will remain in the median for the moment. By the way, I swear the white truck next to me was complete coincidence. At this point, the north and southbound lanes of Interstate 15 diverge for a few miles. The train will follow the route of the northbound lanes, which is the side we're currently on. The train will be on our left to the northwest of the northbound lanes, so we will continue to approximate the train route with our visuals. Also, the grade increases quite a bit in this second climbing section. I've calculated it as something like 3 or 4%. Road traffic has slowed, so I'm going to adjust the speed of the video a bit to stay at a simulated 80 miles per hour. We've now reached the summit. The two sides of the freeway converge here. The Brightline track will remain in the median and will be at grade at this point. There are some noise and vibration impacts in this area, and the Hesperia station is only about 4 miles away, so I'm guessing the train will remain at about 80 miles per hour into the station from here. The impact reports indicate that the line will be double tracked on station approaches and triple tracked at through stations, so double tracking in the median for the Hesperia station should start about here. As we pull into the Hesperia station for a couple of minutes, let's discuss this area a little more in depth. The station is at Joshua Street. This intersection will be completely redone to accommodate the station. The freeway will need to be widened to accommodate the station in the median. There's some conflicting information in the impact report, but the parking for the station will be on one side of the freeway or the other. This is a commuter station. Southbound trains will stop here in the morning. Northbound trains will stop here in the evening. All other trains should pass through. Brightline plans to run a train through here every 45 minutes in each direction, with the north and southbound trains arriving and departing at about the same time. As far as I can tell, this means the station will double as a passing siding for through trains as well. We'll need to cut the stop at Hesperia short because it's time for the video to depart. All aboard! There is a noise and vibration restriction a couple of miles ahead, and the train will need time to accelerate if this is a stop, so I'm going to keep us at approximately 80 miles per hour for the time being. We have passed our noise and vibration restriction at Main Street. The speed limit for about the next 6 miles is 140 miles per hour, but I think there is only time to get to 110 before the train has to slow again to move through the middle of Victorville. However, I could definitely be underestimating the top speed in service here, so I'll crank it from 110 to 140 for a couple of minutes just for fun. The train is still in the median, single track again. Now slowing back to approximately 110 miles per hour for the approach to the slower part of Victorville. Coming into the middle of Victorville, the speed limit drops to 80 due to sound and vibration impacts. There will be a fair amount of freeway widening in this area to accommodate the track in the median. At Mojave Road, the speed limit due to sound and vibration impacts rises slightly to 90 miles per hour. We're about to cross the Mojave River. This will require a new railroad bridge as well as significant work on the freeway crossings and freeway access in this area. Speed limit also increases to 110 miles per hour from here until just before the Apple Valley station. Best I can tell, after this railroad bridge, the track will double, rise in the median, and then cross over to the right in order to continue on the east side of the freeway before reaching the Apple Valley station. I believe the track will remain elevated as it will have to cross over Dale Evans Parkway after exiting the Apple Valley station to the north. As we approach Dale Evans Parkway, the Apple Valley station should be off to the right. The stop here will be approximately 3 minutes long. This is the last stop heading north before the Las Vegas station. Here's a view from Dale Evans Parkway just east of Interstate 15, looking south toward the Apple Valley station site and then toward Apple Valley, just to give you an idea how far outside of town this is. Here's a map of the Apple Valley station area. Brightline is also going to house maintenance and other facilities here. Apple Valley is the closest city. You have to go down Dale Evans Parkway about 6 miles before you reach the edge of town. That concludes the tour of the Cajon Pass portion of the Brightline West route. Up next, I'll need to drive the rest of the way out to Vegas, and that video should be similar to this one, just a lot longer. But that's all for now. Until next time, I'll see you on that big, beautiful freeway.